Okay, so I have more of it disassembled, pulled off the reed valve, dropping screws everywhere. They seem to be in okay shape. Original reeds. I noticed there is a bolt broken here. That wasn't me. Uh, Internally, looks not too bad so far. Lots of this copper slag still falling out of it. Won't hurt anything. I got the stator assembly off. Pretty minty shape by the looks of it so far, besides the wires, but I'm probably going to solder on new wires right from the stator itself. Okay, so I got the cylinder off, popped off fairly easy. Will need an overbore, hard to see right there, right on the bottom there. I'll turn on the light, probably make it easier. Maybe not. You can see there's some pretty good lines in there. Has been sitting a long time. Technically, I know I could just get away with honing it, throwing new rings on, but why would I do that? Not on this when the motor's already out. Needs crank bearings or the bearing bosses are shot. Don't know just yet. Bearing bosses are where the bearing fits into the cases. I don't see any signs of it being loose. Normally on these, when it gets loose, you'll actually see cracks along here. Well, it's epoxied in with studs, so normally you'd see evidence of the studs moving, so I'm guessing on this case it's just a bearing that's shot. Such a little tiny bit of play, but enough that I'm going to split the cases, which I had plans to do that anyway. Seeing it's so freaking easy on this machine. Other than that, the rod bearing, I'll have to just check that once it's out. Most likely we'll need a new. It's not that bad yet, but I have to take a look at when it's out. There's some interesting, if I can get the focus here. Right there. Focus, you bitch. Almost. You can kind of see some pitting in between the rings here. I'm not sure how that happened. So it's kind of a weird spot. It just started pitting in there. So you can see someone had a top end off this before because it's cleaned up. Other than that, besides the pitting there, there's no real marks on the piston anywhere. So, but okay, I'll get off all this clutch crap here, and then I'll split the cases. One thing I thought I should add, when you get that plate off, your clutch adjuster rod, if you look at the end, there's a little bit of a circle on the end of it. I can't even really focus. But anyway, that's where it rides on a ball bearing. So there is a ball bearing in here that will fall out when you tip the engine. So I'm going to show you. You can't see it, and chances are you won't know it's there until it's too late. You'll reassemble your engine and you'll never get your clutch set proper. Of course. And there's a little ball bearing right there. See? Right here. A little tiny ball bearing. So trust me, you do not want to reassemble your engine without that, because you'll use up all your adjustment on here, and your clutch will be so stiff, so shitty feeling that if you even could get it adjusted. I guess, yeah, you could get it adjusted with that, but just trying to warn anyone that does this to never, ever forget that little ball. Myself, I had these engines apart probably close to 10 times. I have had one of these engines apart, not this one and this one, but multiple engines, so I know about that. I just thought other people, if they're watching this video, might own one and might care to know about that. Because if you're taking this apart on the machine, the minute you stand it up off your kickstand, that ball's rolling out of there and you'll never know it fell out. Okay. Okay, well, I got her split apart. It was super easy. I never had to use a crank puller or anything on it. Basically, I just tapped the one side of the crank just very lightly. Then I was able to hit it on this here and a little bit on here, and it pretty much started splitting. I just went all the way around with the hammer, and it rubber mallet, of course, and it split. No damage whatsoever. These ones here, you normally don't need any case pullers on them. That's just a dowel pin. So far everything looks to be good on the inside. There's a lot of that slag again, copper slag from when I sandblasted it. But again, I don't really care about that because I had plans to tear it right apart. Bearing on this side is good. The other side, crank bearing, is toast. It's decolored too. The bearing bosses look minty on this, which is actually pretty rare for these machines. Nice and tight. As far as I can see, they're nice and tight anyway. So, have to take a better look once I get it out of there, but everything looks good. As for the tranny gears, I never really spun them and looked at them yet, but from what I see here, they're minty. So couldn't have had too many kilometers on this one. So I'll finish stripping the rest of it tomorrow. Again, you can see the weld from the inside here. So that's why they had the clutch cover off, I'm guessing. But again, I'm going to leave this for tonight. It's pretty much all I'm going to do. Took, from the time I brought it inside, took about maybe half an hour, 45 minutes at max to tear it down to this point. Really all it needs to technically run good is going to be another crank bearing on that side and a good parts wash. Piston rings, or just I have spare pistons, end cylinders, which are good because that cylinder's cracked in a few spots, whatever. Crank is not too bad yet, so you can see all the threads, everything else are nice. It's a pretty good shape. This bottom end has never been split before. Has not much play in there, so it's still good. Just if I decided to keep this engine, I might just throw in a new crank bearings, keep the same rod. So for the $100 or whatever it costs to get that done, why not? Yeah, so this is where I'm going to leave this video for now, and once I order parts, make a little bit of an update video on it, and when this motor's done being put together, I'm going to sell it probably on eBay or wherever else, and it's going, or I might keep it, I'm not too sure yet, and I'm just going to sell it pretty much at cost, whatever I put into it. So if I put $200 into it, the listing's going to start at $200 and go from there. So well, mind you, I already got gaskets, I already got pistons. If I have to overbore, so I'll probably end up starting the listing on eBay at $300, and anything over that, whatever, is just profit. So whatever. I got so many of these motors, and I just randomly decided, hey, let's try out the Sandblaster, and I'll throw it together. And if I make a few bucks, I make a few bucks. If I don't make money, who cares? Someone will have a good engine for cheap. So that's where I'm going to leave this.